So, hey everybody, I did my cultural immersion project on Puerto Rican population. Um, I learned a lot and I am excited to inform you of some interesting things. This is Puerto Rico. It's in I'm sure all of you guys know, but it's in the Caribbean. It's an island. The four key elements that stood out to me the most during this project was number one, the treatment from the United States government since becoming colonialized in 1917 has been poor and horrible. Some of the things that I found out was really surprising and sad. Um, Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico. It was a direct hit, and I think it was in 2017. Um, and they are still suffering from the effects of that natural disaster, even lacking in basic needs. And our government did not do as much as they should have. In fact, I think Donald Trump received a lot of scrutiny about throwing paper towels at some of the victims of the hurricane and saying that it wasn't that bad, that there was only four casualties when in fact there were thousands. Another key element is the internally migrated Puerto Ricans in the state are being treated less than, even though they are U.S. citizens. So, because Puerto Ricans are U.S. citizens, they are not immigrants. They are called internally migrated citizens. However, um, they are treated like second class citizens. And the fourth key element was the resiliency in this population is beyond admirable. They have overcame a lot of current and past oppression, natural disasters, all kinds of things, and yet they still are resilient and they still move on and they are proud of who they are. So some historical and current oppression. Even after becoming a U.S. territory, Puerto Ricans were still treated like second class citizens in the United States government, which I mentioned. The U.S. government distorted the economy and mental well being of the Puerto Rican people, Millennium 2022. Violent acts of aggression were used by the U.S. government to the Puerto Rican people, but they were not punished for these acts. In the United States, Puerto Rican migrants were harassed by white supremacists, which I did not know this, but they were in you think white supremacists are predominantly against blacks, but no, they were against Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, anybody who wasn't white, which I guess that makes sense, but I was unaware of that. Some current oppression is higher levels of emotional distress, which results in physical ailments and internal racism. So they internalize the racism, like feeling not good enough. The racism that they are receiving, they are internally feeling about themselves, making them feel less than and all that. So, and they face discrimination in school and job settings as well. Two events with key findings. Event one, I went to a birthday party of my husband's coworker who is Puerto Rican. His family's Puerto Rican. And we were there for 2 or 3 hours. And I was really surprised that though most of the members were Spanish, they all spoke English, especially around me and my family, and were very accommodating and accepting of us. They acted like they were glad that we were there, made us feel right at home. And they didn't seem bothered that white people were there. So my husband and his coworker, they joke a lot about race. And I mean, they really made us feel like we were part of the family. And I can tell that this family has a lot of pride in their heritage. They had pictures in their house of, it looked like historical pictures from Puerto Rico hanging on the walls in their house. And so I can tell that they really honor and incorporate traditions and history. The second event, I went to a concert in Greensboro, North Carolina. I think that her name was Merit Zeta. I don't speak Spanish at all, so I felt very out of place, but everybody in the crowd seemed, really excited and happy and just emotional. The singer sung songs about past and present heritage of Puerto Rico. And I could tell that some of the older crowd goers knew a lot of the songs, and some of the, I could tell what songs were probably older. Um, and like I said, I could feel the emotions of the performers and the crowd goers, even though Spanish was used and I could not understand it. I'd say about after an hour, the awkwardness of it went away, and I really enjoyed it. Past cultural history is highly respected and was displayed at this setting by song and dance. So the organization that I interviewed was the Latino Justice Organization Interview. And their mission statement is take action against the effects of the legal, political, and economic systems for the Puerto Rican community, Smith 2024. They fight against racism and second-class citizenship for citizens in the states and also Puerto Rico. They advocate for education and legal rights, and they offer free legal services through pro bono law partners. They have a lot of law partners all over the United States. Like I said, they work in Puerto Rico and in Puerto Rican communities across the states. They've been featured on ABC News, Telemundo, Dr. Phil, which was kind of surprising to me. And some of the needs for this organization include they need more volunteers and mentors, especially educational mentors for children, donations, and more pro bono partners. So my individual interview, we'll call her Jane. She's a 37-year-old single mother of one, foster parent, and works in education. Her earliest memory of realization of cultural difference was when she was 5. She had explained that she referred to her aunts as TT, whereas obviously white people, and she lived in a predominantly white community, they use the word aunt, and other Spanish children use the word tia. So she was the only one that she knew of, her family used the word TT, and she realized that, she was different. She was raised by a Puerto Rican mother and a white stepfather. Her dad is Puerto Rican. He lives in New Jersey. And she spent some time with him in summers, but she was raised by her mom and stepfather. And so they mostly spoke English in the home because her stepfather did not speak Spanish. The stepfather was Baptist, but the mother was Catholic, and they were very strict in their Catholic religion, and they made sure they upheld their traditions and all that. So she was often complimented on skin tone being the perfect tan. She was made to play Pocahontas instead of her favorite Disney princess, which was Belle. And people had issues pronouncing her first and last name. She had issues in school with teachers automatically assuming that she needed to be in ESL and other remedial classes, and that she was behind, but she was not. She was actually very intelligent, and she doesn't even speak Spanish. Actually, she only knows a couple of terms and phrases. So like I said, they were surprised to realize how intelligent she was, and she wasn't behind. She said that, kids would make her feel different in school, but it was nothing really bad, in her childhood. She said as she grew older, she would be looked at in stores and followed in stores by employees who thought that she might be trying to steal or something like that. But the worst racist event that happened in her life, she told me that when she got pregnant with her daughter, her mother-in-law threw a fit because she did not want her stepchildren to look like her because she was dark-skinned. And that was really upsetting for me to hear, because nobody deserves to be treated like that. And culture played a part in her career decision because she was at college and she was short like $800 for a class. And she was on the phone talking to a family member, and a person had overheard what she was saying. So when she got off the phone, he walked up and he handed her $700 or $800. And, she said, I don't, what is this for here? I can't take it. And he's like, no, I'm Puerto Rican too. And we should stick together and, do good for our community. All I ask is that you pay it forward. So she took the money and she was able to finish her courses, but she ended up switching her major to education because she felt like that was the best way that she could pay it forward. So I thought it was really cool that her culture and who she, her ethnicity actually played a part in that decision. So for a summary of my experience, the Puerto Rican population is loud, vibrant, and resilient. The population is accepting of others despite current and historical oppression. Puerto Ricans hold a deep sense of pride and heritage. They deserve the respect and rights of first-class citizens, and Puerto Ricans on the island are still suffering with the basic needs not being met, and the United States should do more. Some specific application to counseling: cultural competence needed by counselor for Puerto Rican clients, especially those who have internally migrated, which will lead to a better match and empowerment for the client. Gadsden by 2019. Counselor should present openness, humility, and curiosity, which will lead to a secure attachment. Gadsden by 2019. Counselor should address inequalities faced and how that impairs their trust. Attachment theory and treatment could improve areas of symptomatic, interpersonal, and social functioning. Gadsden by 2019. And group storytelling has shown to increase resiliency in survivors and can be a positive treatment approach for Puerto Rican communities with collective trauma. Macias 2020. That actually came from an article I read about the trauma that they endured after Hurricane Maria, and group storytelling was used in therapy, and it was really beneficial to the survivors. And there are my references. Thank you so much.